Welcome, welcome everyone. My name is Melissa. I am the marketing manager at Moonbeam. You are listening to the Diode Ask Me Anything with Ryan as our moderator and the Diode team, Hans and Dominic. I'm going to throw it over to Ryan, but before I do, I want to make sure that we can get this space going. So everyone just retweet or share this space with one person that is really excited about DePIN, decentralized social media, and privacy. Thank you so much. And I will throw it over to Ryan to get us started.
GM, thanks, Melissa. Welcome, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, I head up business development here at the Moonbeam Foundation. I think there are a couple of our team members out here as well today. Super excited to share this space with our wonderful friends, partners, and team at Diode that are launching on Moonbeam. And they're going to get to share all about their DePIN project, all about why they've built it, where they're going, why they even got into the industry in the first place. And we're certainly going to have an open, fun, and engaging conversation. Now, before we do, and before we dive into some intros from Hans and Dominic, for those of you that are new to this space, and for those of you that don't know much about Moonbeam, let me give you a couple of tidbits. One of the things that's important for you to know is we love to use this saying, build here, grow anywhere. And the reason why we say that is because we are an EVM blockchain, L1 blockchain, secured by Polkadot, but we are interconnected to about 100 other EVM blockchains thanks to our integrations with Layer 0, Axelar, Wormhole, and more. And we have a thriving ecosystem of DeFi, DePIN, RWAs, gaming, and more. And for those of you that know, or at least know me well enough, you know that I am a huge supporter and have a lot of interest and friends in the DePIN space. So it really excites me today to have the incredible team from Diode join us. So without further ado, Hans, why don't you introduce yourself, and then we'll hand over to Dominique as well.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, thanks so much, Ryan and the Moonbeam team. Super excited to do the spaces with you guys. My journey, for actually blockchain and decentralized communications and zero trust communications began around 2019 when I was working with Dominic in a company, and we had many millions of devices online at that company doing Internet of Things communications. And we discovered that certain types of communications using traditional security involved, many third parties and were not actually secure. And so we began looking for a solution. We found blockchain as a way to solve some of the insecurities in Web 2 security, and we began kind of innovating with blockchain at that point on an EVM clone. And then, later as we scaled those capabilities, we were very much just about identity and connectivity. We began to add capabilities for people, for businesses, et cetera, that would leverage the same high security communications secured by blockchain smart contracts. And that led us to a point where we began dealing with lots of engineering problems at the blockchain level ourselves. And so we began looking for a partner, found Moonbeam Network, and have been really happy developing in the Moonbeam ecosystem for reasons that we can go into more details in the future. But yeah, my background, I'm an electrical engineer, and then have been working for tech startups and starting my own businesses since the late 90s.
I love that. Thank you, Hans. And I remember when we first met, we went down a bit of a rabbit hole talking about IoT, because you and I share a bit of a similar but different background as it relates to IoT and the world of comms between different devices. So yeah, excited to dive into it a bit deeper. Before we do, Dominique, did you want to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, sure, would love to, and it's quite amazing to be able to be here with you guys on this AMA. Yeah, I mean, just to allude to that, yeah, when Hans and I met in 2019 and started really exploring blockchain, we were actually working on IoT devices. We were working with all these.
I'm not sure if I lost audio or if it's just Dominic that we can't hear.
He's good. I can hear him.
Oh, okay. I
Okay.
cannot
I'm just
hear
going to
you,
go
Dominic,
ahead then.
which is actually going to be a problem for hosting. I can do a lap. I'll have to jump off and jump back on, or Dominic, if you want to disconnect and reconnect. I've had this issue so much with spaces lately, sadly.
Okay, I can just try to reconnect.
All right, Melissa, I'll do a lap real fast.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for holding on. But while we're waiting for Ryan to do a lap and hop back on, if I want to direct your attention to the Jumbotron, we actually just published a story about the latest DePIN projects in Polkadot and Moonbeam and how they all interconnect with the new narrative. So check that article out, and I will throw it back over to Ryan.
Yeah, I'm back. I think Dominic is still doing a lap around the field as such. I swear, can you imagine VPNs actually work better? I mean, Hans, maybe you can provide something that actually works for us, because my VPN causes issues for me all the time, but I refuse to be online without one. So I guess we can wait for Dominic to join back in, or at least until he does. When we start diving a little into Diode, for the listeners out there, I love what you guys are building. I totally get why you're building it, and I'm excited for you to share your story behind this, because I think people are going to leave this space with both an aha moment and a sheer appreciation for what you're building and why.
Yeah, I can give a couple more details. So Diode at a very low level, right, at a fundamental level, is the ability for one device to connect to any other device in the world without any third parties in between, right? So for example, we have a pioneering chat app on the network called, we're going to be rebranding it Diode Collab, but right now it's called Diode Drive. And that chat app has no chat servers online, right? Unlike Signal, unlike Telegram, etc. There's no servers online. It's just one device, self-custody, local first, connecting to another device, self-custody, local first, and sharing messages and files, etc. across that link. And so Diode at a very fundamental level is a self-custody widget, enables, if it's a Web3 DApp or a Web2 project, you can use our infrastructure to build your own applications, or use our off-the-shelf applications to get up and running on a very secure Web3 based technology very quickly. If you think about the DePIN element of this, it's all about being able to bridge, being able to find somebody else, that other device in the world, through our network, right? Our network basically uses a routing protocol that makes your Ethereum public key into essentially your static IP address. Okay, and so you can connect between two public keys like that very, very quickly. And you want to be able to find that other address with, as local of a connection in the network as possible. And so where our DePIN comes in is we want to have nodes in every significant city in the world, so that if you communicate with somebody in your same city or communicate with somebody in your next city, you're just initially bridging to find that person as local as possible. It's more performant, it's more secure, etc. And whether that's two people or an IoT device and an IoT server, or two IoT devices, it really doesn't matter. Any of those things can tunnel through the network very securely.
Is there any specific comms or type of comms that you are targeting, or does it not matter whatsoever?
It doesn't really matter. Today we have basically everything is TCP session based. So as long as you speak TCP, anything above that will work. Any layer above that will work. We also emulate UDP over the network today. We'll probably be adding the ability to do UDP tunneling as well. So it's at a very, this is kind of technical, but it's a very fundamental level. So it really doesn't matter. I think that the most interesting use cases that we see today are ones that you're either communicating or you're connecting to servers or people who are sharing sensitive data, right? So a lot of data breaches today come because you have a database of authenticated information and you have like a web portal that people can approach and try to give a username and password or use social engineering to try to find a credential to be able to log into that web portal, right? And what Diode does is we remove all that and we say, look, unless you have a self-custody key that gives you authorization to that asset, you can't even approach it. And so that eliminates many attack vectors that are today creating data breaches. And so anything with sensitive data for us is a great application, whether that's people chatting, DevOps teams sharing some secrets or IT infrastructure information, or possibly people with regulated data in HIPAA in the medical space, etc. And then on the other side is you have people also operating in sensitive regions, right? Nowadays, in every geopolitical environment, there's a little bit different rules, right? And so if I'm traveling to another country and I'm working as part of a business team, I don't always know what the rules are in that other country. Diode gives us the ability to allow businesses, allow teams, allow communities, no matter where their team members are at, to have very secure communications, even if they're traveling through another region or possibly just trying to maintain, business privacy and confidentiality within many different regions with teams.
Interesting that you raised that exact answer, because I wanted to dive into that deeper with you even later if we could, but happy to do it even now. I mean, we've just seen what happened with Telegram and the founder of Telegram. I'm sure majority of people on this call have used or do use WhatsApp or Signal at some point. We're told that it's encrypted end to end. We also know that there is some kind of centralized server somewhere in the middle. And of course, what we've just seen ongoing in Brazil and other regions. It's not even just Brazil. So I guess in that instance, Diode is actually building or has built solutions that can help in situations like that. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely. Each of those examples that you gave, Telegram, WhatsApp, and Signal, they each have their own, I don't know, like secrets or like sorted part of their tech that raises lots of questions. And for Telegram, at the end of the day, I read a really well-written article recently that talks about Telegram. And Telegram is known, and you see it in analyst write-ups, as a secure messaging app. But as many people know, but maybe some people on this AMA don't know, is that Telegram is by default not end-to-end encrypted. It's by default breaks all encryption at the server. In other words, the Telegram admins can basically read your DMs for, I would say, 90+% of everybody using Telegram. And anyone who interacts in a group, that is open information that anyone on the server or has access to the information that was on the server can read. And so, and the article is saying, why is it that if you want to put two people using Telegram into an encrypted communications mode, you have to go 4 levels deep in the UI, right? And that, of course, begs the question, why? Why is it so difficult to use? So Telegram is interesting, and I think the problem really with Pavel and that I think it's a really hard decision is that because they break encryption at the server, they have so much information from messages to images, etc., that they have in their custody and they can read, and so because of that, the governments or other people that are very interested in that information ask them for it. Please share that with me. It's a person of interest, or it's a high profile, individual or target. And this happens in every country, right? You'll get these information request letters provided to you. And Diode has no chat server. We have zero information on anyone in the network. And Telegram, WhatsApp, Signal, they all take phone numbers, right? And phone numbers are usually a way to like reset your password or to add a linked device, etc. Well, phone numbers we feel are secure, but actually those are all operated by the telco networks, right? And so if you can spoof a phone number, there's probably ways to add secret linked devices, etc. And this is where the transparency of blockchain becomes so valuable, because with smart contracts, if you have the right keys, you can audit beyond a shadow of a doubt what is in those smart contracts. And you can know if there are any other secret group members or any linked devices, etc., added to your contract. And if there are none there's none that exists in the Diode ecosystem. In other ecosystems, those servers are operated by IT admins, by companies, maybe by nation states, you don't know. And it's not clear actually who is listening in your either DMs as a linked device or in your group chats. And so Diode kind of shifts this, leverages the transparency of blockchain with all of the tried and true and proven, open SSL 256-bit elliptical curve kind of communication out there. We merge those two things together and create a brand new, secure, private, and performant experience for people.
Amazing. Thank you for that explanation. It also helps, or hopefully helps, some of those on this call or those that listen to the recording actually understand why we even have issues today where you want to use the likes of a Google phone number for some services, and why those are starting to be blocked due to how they're issued, who owns them, who can get access to them and whatnot. So I guess Diode is providing an incredible service that goes well beyond the restrictions of a traditional phone number per se. I have a ton of additional questions. I'm going to dive into them before we switch over to some audience questions. One that has come up for me recently, because we've been talking about this a bit. You guys position yourselves as a DePIN project, I guess DePIN protocol and platform. Do you see the crossover? Because I am starting to see a lot of this in the industry. Do you see a crossover between what you're providing as a service today being defined, or I guess bucketed as DePIN, and how it could actually relate to RWAs? Because I think that there are components of what you guys have built and are building that actually may be one of the first true projects that crosses over two of those worlds.
I love that question. And I think, well, what DePIN is really the crowdsourcing of a capability, right? That's really what it is. And so you really need to ask for every DePIN project, does crowdsourcing that, or getting lots of the community members to be able to provide that type of resource, is that resource a current commodity in Web 2? Or a current commodity in the physical world? And are you now providing a different way to get that resource to people and allowing that crowdsourcing to actually be paid for that? And if so, you are transferring value from Web 2, from traditional infrastructure, just like Uber did, right, to those individuals. That's DePIN. However, if you're also shifting the line in that commodity, for us it's bandwidth, right? At a fundamental level, we're a bandwidth.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
Token, right? Like you pay your token and you get bandwidth. And so we're also absorbing significant amounts. Our goal is to significant amounts of bandwidth on the market, right? And there's a current bandwidth market. You can create derivatives on the bandwidth market, etc. As we shift that into not just any bandwidth, but secure bandwidth, and you're providing that as a commodity, etc., and you're tokenized at the very beginning as a bandwidth token for bandwidth, you can now start to do derivatives and other types of trading and tokenization schemes on top of basically commodity bandwidth, right? And the thing is that secure bandwidth, as long as it's as convenient to use, is probably a more desirable type of bandwidth. And so the idea that we have is, over time, Diode's investment in secure bandwidth will actually absorb more of the commodity bandwidth market into Diode and provide many opportunities that you typically see with RWA for derivatives and other kind of secondary markets on that commodity bandwidth.
Gotcha. So almost like a transport mechanism or platform to enable the secure transfers and commoditization as such of RWAs or other assets. Would that be correct? Because I actually have a follow-up question around that.
Yeah, well, there's definitely the selling shovels in a gold rush, right? Like there's other RWA projects that may need actually a secure communications mechanism as part of that project, and that is definitely possible with Diode, right? As I said, it's just a TCP connection, but it's inherently secure, and it uses kind of Web3 friendly tech. So definitely you have that piece, but I think on the commodity of bandwidth specifically, if you think of bandwidth as an RWA, right? Like Diode is actually active in the bandwidth market, and our goal is eventually people who are running data centers, people who are running other ISPs or transfer points, they will want to put Diode assets and Diode type tuned server infrastructure in those areas and leverage Diode more than they want just any type of bandwidth, right? And so we actually want to get every service provider, or many service providers who are currently servicing commodity bandwidth, to actually service instead Diode bandwidth and incentivize them for that.
Amazing. That's why I had to ask that question, because there is something fascinating about a project that can cross the chasm between DePIN and RWA and provide value and viable technology for both. I'll call them verticals, but I hate the use of verticals in Web3, but I guess in each of those categories would be probably a better word to use. Okay, I have a question for you that is important, and I'm sure a lot of people on this call want to know. Why Moonbeam? I know the answer to the question, but I want to hear from the Diode team. Why Moonbeam?
Well, from a tech perspective, there were a number of reasons. We started about a year and a half ago. We started looking at EVM chains on the market, both L1 and L2, and started looking. And we had a series of criteria that it had to be hit, right? It had to have low gas. It had to have pretty well distributed validator infrastructure. It had to have the ability to basically pay on behalf of people who interact. Like, one of the really tough crossover things typically between Web3 and Web2 is the token, right? Most people in Web2 don't want to have to go get like an Orchid token to pay for Orchid VPN. That's like, is not convenient enough to dissuade them from actually using Orchid VPN, right? And so but you have to pay fees, you have to pay gas, etc., in a token. And so Moonbeam had this I think it's called TX call permit capability that allows kind of a nominated wallet to pay fees on behalf of other wallets. And that was really important for us. And so there was a number of technical reasons: the Polkadot ecosystem, the Polkadot validator network, Moonbeam's role as kind of the go-to EVM in that ecosystem, etc. And so those were really important. But I would say even as important as a project looking to work with Moonbeam was your team, right? Like, the team was open and friendly and value-based, and helped us onboard, and has just been a great partner doing things like these spaces all along the way. So I would say it's those two aspects, but we've been really happy with Moonbeam, and yeah, every day pretty much we're doing something additionally with you guys and leaning into that partnership.
I love that. Thank you, Hans. And it's certainly mutual. One of the things we look for when we look to support and grow and build with any projects that come to Moonbeam and the Moonbeam ecosystem is not just, is this a viable product, or is this a cool product, or does this have legs, but is somebody actually looking to build a product that can add value to multiple people, that can actually become a viable business, and just as importantly, or as I like to say, most importantly, is this a team that we can click with, that we can work with, that we know that we have incentivization alignment, and that they're good people, and the feeling's absolutely mutual. So it's been an absolute pleasure building alongside you guys.
Right on.
Yeah. How about the future? Your vision, where are you going with this? You mentioned one or two products already. Anything you're able to share about what you see coming up and what you may be focusing on?
Yeah, for sure. There's three aspects probably, and you can think of it as like token, ecosystem, and network. Probably those three. And although we've been developing tech since 2019, maybe a little bit before that, and we have a very deep tech stack and capable tech stack, something you'd see typically in a lot more mature companies than Diode typically. We actually incubated that at my previous company called Exosite, which is a world top 10 Internet of Things company. And so we incubated it there and then launched Diode formally in 2021. But as part of that, we did not do things with the token, right? And today we have our bandwidth token, a Diode bandwidth token. You can find it on Moonscan, but that is not yet liquid. And so we're going to be maturing that token. And we began that process and kind of engaged in kind of finding the right market and the right kind of scale to mature that token, probably eventually ending with the Diode Foundation listing the token on an exchange, both decentralized like Stella Swap and also centralized exchanges in the coming, probably in the coming year type of time frame. So that's one part of it. We're really excited about that, and kind of getting all of the sources and sinks kind of balanced for the token as we mature it. And then the other piece is the ecosystem. We just launched an ambassador program, and we're beginning to grow the ambassador program. We're probably right now, I think it's about 30% month on month. We're at 122 ambassadors today. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were, less than 100. And so, we're steadily growing that. And I say like if you like secure communications, if you like what Diode is doing for the future of a private internet and the ability to retain confidentiality and self-custody and sovereignty, then, and you're willing to tell others about it, then you should be an ambassador. So go check diode.foundation. There's an ambassador program there. Welcome to join that and begin collaborating with the ecosystem. So that's growing quickly. And all of the tailwinds, I would say, in the different geopolitical environments are contributing to that. We have a growing passionate followings in different regions, and we're leaning into the regional development, because oftentimes community development happens along language lines. And so we're kind of leaning into that and getting the regional kind of ground game going as well. So that's pretty exciting. And then the final thing is the network. Today we have around 45 network nodes. And these network nodes are, in many different regions. Our number one Web 2 competitor has about 75 published locations and another about 75 unpublished locations, about 150 locations. We want to be a factor larger than them in the next 6 months, okay, leveraging DePIN. And so you're going to see at the end of this month, we're going to be turning rewards on for bandwidth. Knock on wood, but turning those rewards on. And then once those rewards are there, we're going to be balancing kind of the cost of hosting a DePIN node with the rewards that people are getting, making sure that it's sustainable and exciting to help provide bandwidth to the market, and then continuing to grow that. And my goal is in the next 12 to 24 months to have a DePIN diode node in every major city in the world, so that we can truly provide that performant and secure and local communications to everybody in that region.
That's absolutely incredible. Thank you, Hans. I guess for anybody out there that wants to become an ambassador, I know you shared the link. We can probably share the link possibly in the chat below. I guess you can rush to be the first in region, since I think you said you had close to 100 ambassadors today. So I'm sure there are regions that you don't have any ambassadors just yet. I had one last question before. I know we have a couple on stage that would like to ask some questions. Have you looked at anything like an integration, a collaboration, almost like an alternate feature set for the likes of today's sought after VPNs, ExpressVPN, NordVPN, etc.? Is that something that is of any interest to you, or is that I guess a direct competing product for you guys?
Yeah, so I think, so what Diode does is it allows, like it commoditizes the effort to be a VPN provider, right? You can easily run VPN over Diode. Okay, and so what's happening now is IT service firms, managed service providers, and many individuals are actually running in less than probably 2 minutes. You can run your own VPN network and give others access to that, and even charge for it. So we're commoditizing that effort. You know, we obviously run some of our own what we call exit nodes. One of the huge inertial pieces or frictional pieces with VPN, I think actually Vitalik mentioned this recently, that if you're going to be paying somebody for VPN, well, they have your payment information, which reduces to, you know, pretty much your most personal details, and they have every website or location that you're visiting, right? And so there's a lot of information that typical VPN providers have. Diode is a self-custody, zero trust network. You can run your own VPN. You can use the relationships that you've built. A lot of people already trust their IT services firm, or they already trust their nephew who is IT capable, right? And those people can very easily bring on VPN exit nodes for their friends and let them use it via a Diode zone. And matter of fact, we have many regions doing this already today. And this is an area that I'm really excited. I think this is really going to be a, you know, enabling people to share not only chat, not only files, but also their internet connection in a way that is safe and is relational. Is something that's a huge goal of ours, and already that we're doing, and we see that this is going to you know, further level the playing field for VPN and make it more secure and accessible for everybody.
Brilliant. I'm sure a lot of people had an aha moment when exactly when you gave that explanation of what Vitalik had said, which was when you pay the VPN provider, they have full access to pretty much every bit of traffic you're doing on the web, including your PII. So pretty interesting. Love what you guys are building. We do have a couple of questions. I think, Nelson, if you still had a question, can you just put your hand up so I can make sure that you do? And I'll see who else there was here. Oh, I can't actually see hands. That is awesome. I'm loving X today. Nelson, if you have a question, you're welcome to unmute and ask your question of the Diode team.
Ryan is reconnecting, and Nelson may not be able to unmute here. So while Ryan's reconnecting, just as an update on the VPN thing, one of the other issues that a lot of people talk about just using VPN, and as a VPN user myself, is when I put VPN online on my computer, it kind of takes over my computer, right? It's like everything runs through the VPN connection. And this is a challenge, because you actually want to, like most of your internet, you want to be local. Some of your internet, though, you want to be remote, because you can access that capability. And this is sometimes called a split tunnel VPN, sometimes called browser specific or web browsing specific tunneling. And this is what Diode supports, right? So you don't have to put your entire computer into VPN mode when you use Diode, which is a huge advantage as well. So sorry, Ryan, I don't know if you're back online now, but.
I am back online, and I think you were answering a question, so awesome. I am having fun with X as always. I swear the last probably 3 weeks, I just get rugged randomly. It's amazing. If anybody else out there has a question, please feel free to raise your hand or just send it in the chat box. Anything else you want to add while we wait for any speakers, or while we look to actually wrap up shortly, Hans? And we lost Dominic, didn't we?
Yeah, if Dominic is able to speak, I think someone may need to moderate him into speaker, or maybe just click the speaker button. But we also, I know, have a couple of our ambassadors online. If you guys have anything to say as well, please raise your hand and
yeah,
request.
feel free. Just request to speak. We'll let you up. Would love to hear from you.
Yeah, but as they're doing that, I think, you know, our vision for the future, very like high level vision, actually our vision statement is to transform the internet into everyone's private network. We believe that the combination of existing tried and true Web 2 technologies with the transparency and DePIN incentives in Web 3 can enable a new type of open network that is inherently secure. The current internet, you know, uses a system of third parties that, you know, everybody wants to have a DNS server. Everybody wants to have control of a certificate authority. Diode says, no, you don't need any of those. All you need is blockchain and the ability to validate some things via those smart contracts. And now all of a sudden you have an open and permissionless communication network that is inherently secure. So that's our vision of the future. And, you know, we're just thrilled to be working with Moonbeam and so many other great Web3 projects to achieve that.
That's fantastic, and we're proud to be able to enable this and watch the growth and the flourishing of Diode as an organization, watch a team evolve, and watch these big visions come to life.
Awesome. I think we have another speaker as well. Hello, Tiago.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can. Hey, Tiago.
Hey, I just want to ask a question to Hans with regards what's currently available now for the Web3 community or for regular users. You mentioned about the app. What users can do in the app? Can they already try, you know, like the ZTN access, you know, from different regions, or use as a, you know, Dropbox alternative? I'd love to hear a couple of things of the capabilities they can try it out right now.
Yeah, so at the very easiest level, you know, you give the app a username, right? And you get on your system a self-custody credential, basically a wallet that is created. And that wallet has a public key. And as soon as you have that wallet up and running, you're able to end-to-end encrypted communicate with anyone else that you know their wallet address. If you create your own zone, your own communication zone, you can also provide people a invitation link that they can use to join that zone, also through a smart contract. And so all of that is, you know, has capabilities today. You can, I would say, within, you know, a minute or two, you can be up and running and chatting with others using the security guarantees that, you know, probably no other application has in the world today. So that's very, very quick. If you want to take notes, you know, we have a built-in markdown file editor, right? And you can take notes and share that amongst your linked devices. And those, again, are end-to-end encrypted, right? Many people put really confidential information in their notes. Like I know one time I was using Evernote, and I was putting like my kids' social security numbers and their payment information for their university in there. And then Evernote got hacked, and I think all of that information got leaked. And so I was like, we're putting Markdown Editor into Diode and making that available. So that's available immediately off the shelf. File transfer. People are using Diode today to transfer machine learning and large language model models between their engineers or their internal groups and an outsourced company, so that AI LLM development can also progress securely. And so we can transfer files, large files, and then encrypted very securely. And then in response to just the increasing level of restriction around the world, I say every region now has a great firewall, and many more things I think in the future will be blocked. So in response to that, we decided to allow the ZTN capability, kind of that VPN capability. We put that in the app for everybody to use for free. And so we just want to really enable that communication and internet access, and try to keep the internet, as Dominic says, that public good that we have today. In our generation, we have this today. Maybe in our kids' generation, it won't be there. And so we're trying to secure the future of the thing that we maybe take for granted sometimes. And then if you have a project like an RWA project that needs just end-to-end encryption and communications, we have the CLI tool. We have a lot of our stuff. Actually, most of it is all open source, and we want to support your project using Diode communications as well.
Awesome, thanks.
Hans, I have a question for you. Projects that are building, whether they are Web 2, whether they are dApps on Web 3, that want to understand how to leverage Diode for their secure comms, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, great question. I would, join our Discord server. You can go to diode.io, and in the footer, there's a link to Discord. Join the Discord server. Let us know what your questions are. There's also a doc site, docs.diode.io. You can go there. We have a section for the network, for the CLI, for the app, etc. If you don't see something there that you're looking for, hit us up on Discord and we'll add it.
Amazing, thank you. And of course, we would love to see a large number of projects building in and around the Moonbeam ecosystem, looking to collaborate and or build together with or on top of Diode. So follow the instructions, visit diode.io, I believe that's correct. Yeah, perfect. Excellent, thank you, Hans. It looks like we did not manage to get Dominic back to life on this space, but that just saves us time for another one that we can have, where we can hear from Dominic and his big brain. So Melissa, anything you want to add before we wrap up?
Yeah, well, thank you so much again, Hans and the Diode team, for joining us. We will host our community developer office hours on Thursdays. So definitely stay tuned for those. We're going to be talking about how to run a node. So those interested in learning how to run a node, stick around and come by to our community office hours on Thursdays. So just stay tuned for that, or you can DM us for more information. But yeah, again, thank you so much to Ryan, and looking forward to seeing more of Diode and all these public and private channels.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Melissa. Thanks, Ryan. Really appreciate it.
Of course, anytime. Glad to have you here, and have a great and wonderful day, everybody.
Yeah, talk soon, everyone.